Hello YouTubers and Doctor Who fans, and welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review by me, the Obsessed Tuvian 95. In this review I shall be taking a look at Magnus Greel and Mr. Sin, who made their only appearance in Doctor Who in the classic story, The Talons of Weng Chiang, which made its first broadcast back in 1977, I think. If I'm wrong, then you can penalise me if you want, but I'm sure it's 1977. So, these figures came together in one pack, and I think it was quite cheap as well, which was a bargain, as these two figures are amazing. And if you haven't seen the story Talons of Weng Chiang, then I highly recommend it. And you can pick that up by either going on Amazon and getting the original release, which I think was, it was in the early 2000s, and the special edition which I have, which came in the Revisitations 1 box set. But alas, let's have a look at these two excellent figures. And I shall be starting off with Mr. Sin, who has just decided to fall over. And I shall be starting with Mr. Sin, as he was the first character out of this set who was seen. So Mr. Sin was a sort of puppet character. Well, he was believed to be a puppet at first, but it turns out later on in the story he is a robot which uses pig parts. Very, very weird, but this villain creeps me out quite a bit. And the face, you can just see, and just get that out of the light, it's got a glossy finish to the face, which is very, very accurate, just like the story. And it looks very Chinese, as that's what the story focused on, Chinese people. Even Li Sheng Chang, although he wasn't actually Chinese, which was a bit of a gamble back then, but they pulled it off. If they did it today, then the BBC would be in massive trouble, and it would put a lot more pressure on them, as they're already in trouble with the Jimmy Savile crisis. So the head sculpt is brilliant, looks very Chinese, as I said, and it looks like a mask as well. I think you can see like the lines here that show that it's a mask, and it's quite a shame really, because you never actually see what's behind there, but it's a robot anyway, so oh well. The little beard of his is also really good. Try not to snap it off. And the ponytail at the back of his hair is also good. And the sculpting of the hair is also very good. And this figure stands around the same size as the Empty Child. So the Empty Child has a new friend now. So they're weirdly two monsters who I get creeped out by, and especially get creeped out by this guy. So the body of this figure is really good. Got red lines all around the body. It's all checkered, and it's all painted purple on his cloak, and it's just all one piece. And the arms They are green, and they also have a striped and checkered approach, and the straps around here are also good, and you've got the rope on here which is also correct, as that's what Mr. Sin looked like, and there's just a separate piece. You can't take it off though, so don't try, otherwise you might snap it off. And the feet, it's just like that, so looks like a puppet, like I said earlier. And now the articulation of Mr. Sin. The head, I don't think can do a 360. No, it can't do a 360. The arms also can't do a 360 because it's hindered by the shoulders. The elbows can move, but obviously due to the size of this figure, the articulation is pretty limited. Did you hear that, character options? It is limited. So when you release the 3.75 figures, I want to see what the articulation is like. I bet it's not as good as the 5-inch action figures. The hands can move, which I suppose is good. And there's articulation at the ankles as well, and they move as well, and I think there's a little bit of movement in the legs as well. So overall, Mr. Sin, very, very frightening foe in my opinion. Very, very good figure, and this is one of the reasons why you should purchase this figure. But now let's go on to the main attraction of this figure, who is Weng Chiang himself, also known as Magnus Greel. So the detail on this figure is also very, very good, and as you can see, it comes with an interchangeable head. So let's have a look at the helmet of the figure, which covers up his deformed face, and it's very good. It's made it look like as if you can see through, which is good. And all the way down the figure, you've got these you've got like the symbolic patterns, which is quite good, and you've got this wash of sort of a shade of gold, and obviously initially it was painted black, but then I think they painted gold over it, and they sort of watercoloured it over, which is good. And that's what the arms look like, and it actually articulates like, well, if it does, like that. And this bit here, very, very nicely detailed, and likewise on the other side. And like Mr. Sin, he's got a sort of belt going down as well, and if you just move the cloak, which is again made out of PVC, then we can just see this belt here, and obviously the undergarment is, well, we can't see it on the camera, but it's painted green, and the legs are painted black as well, but you can't really see that on camera, so that doesn't really help. Now I'll show you what Magnus Greel looks like with his deformed head. So welcome accessory to this figure, seeing as the deformed head was all seen for like a few seconds at the end of part 5, if I recall, when Leela takes off the mask to reveal his face, and I can't even get the head on, which is typical. There we go. Just about... oh no, it's not. It's just about on, so that's what his deformed head looks like, and it looks very, very good. You can see here where the eye socket is supposed to be, and then over, like, when his time travel experiment went wrong, this is how he ended up, and very, very good, I must say. It looks very, very neat, and it actually looks, I think it looks a bit better than the actual mask in some way. And the lips, they're a bit too pink, but they're passable, I guess. And the eye here, I think they made it look like how it looked in at the end of part 5, when he's like so shocked and puts his hands over his face, because I don't think he likes being deformed. Poor Magnus. So on the whole, these figures are welcome additions to the classic Wave 1 line, and I would pick them up. And yeah, so that's about it really. So thank you very much for watching this action figure review of Magnus Greel and Mr. Sin. Next time I shall be reviewing the K1 robot. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in that review.